Hey Moonwalkers, MJ Buzz 317 here, the #1 MJ fan around. And today, like always, you already know, we got a special lit video for you. But today is going to be kind of a bittersweet feeling because we're going to talk about the day that Michael Jackson died. Not only the day that Michael Jackson died, but my story with it, because it's not just, oh, I was in the airport and heard it. It's a crazy story. Let's go. So, the story is going to take place. Michael Jackson died June 25th. It was on a Thursday, I believe.
And it's very, very sad news, Jim Moret, and to all of our viewers. Both the Los Angeles Times and CBS News are both now reporting that Michael Jackson has died. Now, CNN has not confirmed that, but the LA Times and CBS News are reporting that Michael Jackson, 50 years old, the king of pop, has died. A very, very sad moment.
And so the story takes place Wednesday night, the Wednesday before this. So Wednesday night, like Michael Jackson, I was raised Jehovah's Witness as well. And this was in the summertime. And I had a friend, his name is Joseph. His real name is actually Michael Joseph Garcia. And so, but I just always called him Joseph. Like everybody knows him as Joseph. And so he went to the hall with me, and that's what we call the Kingdom Hall. We don't call it church, we call it hall.
Teach us compassion, of thee we sing. Bless us, Jehovah, our God, our King. Bless us, Jehovah, our King.
Okay, now look.
He went to the hall with me, and when it was over, like so many nights that summer, I had been spending the night at his house. Now, my mother did not know that Joseph's father had not been at the house. He's a truck driver, so he was like cool with us being there, just don't get in trouble. But my mama didn't know that it was just two teenage boys going wild in a big house, you know. So mom was like, yeah, you could go over there. I asked her if I could go over. And so we go over, and I go over his house, and we're having fun or whatever. It's just a normal day or a normal night. And somehow I called one of my other friends, Anwar, and he didn't live in Joseph's neighborhood, but he lived close to the neighborhood. And Joseph's neighborhood is like 8 neighborhoods in one. It's super big. So we had to go meet him at the front of the neighborhood to bring him, back to Joseph's house so we could just have fun for the night or whatever. So this is where the story really starts. Now you guys got the backstory. So as we're walking towards the front of the neighborhood, to meet up with my friend Anwar, I noticed that, I'm getting thirsty. And, I noticed that for some reason, especially in the suburbs area, a lot of white people, they just like to leave the garage door open. They just like to leave it open. And so I was like, shoot, I'm gonna go into this garage. I went into the garage, and because they had a refrigerator in there, and I opened it up, and just like I thought, it was Gatorades galore in there, from the Rooter to the Tutor, all types of flavors. I got one. I was like, Joseph, you want one? He got one. And so we got one, and we laugh and high-fiving on how we just did that. Somehow that turns into, we start going into people's cars, taking money, all types of stuff. I mean, we didn't know who it was, but at the time, we had went into like this famous like army soldier dude, and we took like his magazine clips and just all types of stuff. I don't know why we were doing that, but we just were. Keep in mind, it's still June 24th. So finally we make it up to the front, the neighborhood where Anwar is, and we tell him about all that we've done and all that. So on the way back to Joseph's house, we still stealing stuff, and Anwar's getting into it. We getting Game Boys. We just totally clowning for whatever reason. And believe it or not, like with I'm so big, I've been in people's cars, I'm accidentally hitting the horn. Like we are clowning. We're not smooth at all. Like we tripping. So we finally make it back to Joseph's house, and we're just going through all the stuff that we got. We're divvying it up. And Anwar, he had snuck out of the house. Like, keep in mind, like, it's late. So now it probably is like June 25th now, because it's probably like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And Anwar's like, hey, I got to get back before my dad gets there. And we've been going all over the place. He really still doesn't know how to get back to his house to get out of that neighborhood. So I'll never forget. They're like, all right, well, let's go. And I'm laying on the couch. I to this day, I'm laying on the couch looking up at the ceiling like, I'm not going anywhere. Like, we just clowned. It's over for the night. I'm not going anywhere, nothing. So finally, they talked me into it, whatever. And so we just got Anwar stuff in a duffel bag. And we're walking back and everything's good. We're cutting through houses. And then out of nowhere, we walk past this one house and like we're almost on the street, and out of nowhere, boom, like this big flashing light hits us. And we're like, oh, snap. And we just start running every which way. We turn back around. I'll never forget. Joseph like dives right into this bush over here. And me and Anwar keep running. And before we could come up with a plan, Anwar took right and I went straight. So now we're all split up and nobody knows how to get back to Joseph's house but Joseph. And he, like I said, he was the first one to jump in that bush. So I go through all types of things in my head. Like, am I going to I was like right by some tree or something. I'm like, shoot, I might as well just stay here all night and just let it blow over because nobody's going to find me, whatever. But it starts getting cold or whatnot. So I'm like, no, I just slowly but surely keep trying to find my way back to Joseph's house. Keep trying to find a way. Like, I've ran from the police, so I have no idea where I'm at in this neighborhood. And so it probably takes about 45 minutes for me to finally realize that I'm up by the front. Now I can kind of guide my way. But to guide my way back to Joseph's house, I have to stay on the main road. I can't be cutting through houses because I don't know the neighborhood like that. And so I finally okay, I'm about to be in the clear. And sure enough, I I'm just walking and I see out of the corner of my eye in the dark, I see a policeman. So I'm like, he's too close. So I'm like, shoot. So I just start running and I hear, hey, stop. I'm running, booking it through houses. And I see another boom, a light hits me and I can see my shadow like I'm freaking Michael Jackson. So I turn to the right and I can just feel them. They're getting too close to me. So I just jump over a fence and I just lay there. The police officer runs right by me. Now, once again, it's like so many things I wish I would have done differently. I was just so frozen as I jump over the fence and I'm laying there and a police officer runs by me. There's a bush that's right here, and I'm thinking to myself, just roll over to the bush, just roll it, but I cannot move. I can't move. And so he's coming back. I can kind of hear him on the walkie-talkie like I lost him. But as he's coming back, he's looking with the flashlight because he was too close to me for me to just have disappeared like that. And sure enough, man, he hits me on that light, and all I hear is, spread him. And he's like, and I'm like, okay. And then he said it again, spread him. And now I'm scared. I'm like, shit, I can't spread him anymore. Like, this is it. So he gets in and handcuffs me. I end up going to juvenile. I'm 17. I ended up going to juvenile for the only time. That was the only time I went to juvenile. But so keep in mind that was the night of June 24th. Michael Jackson died June 25th. And if you guys have ever been to juvenile, hopefully not. But at least it takes you one day till you go to court to know if you're going to go home or whatever. So the whole day of June 25th, I'm in jail. Have no clue that Michael Jackson's dead. Okay. The only thing about Michael Jackson was, also in juvenile, you're really separated from everybody. Like, you don't talk to anybody. So I just remember a guard coming in and singing Man in the Mirror, and it kind of perked me up a little bit, and I looked through the little windowsill, and they were like, oh, you like that one, Jamal? I was like, yeah, woo, woo. They probably didn't have the heart to tell me that Michael's gone. I do not know this. So the next day is June 26th, and in the morning, we're going to court. And so to let me know if I'm going to have to stay or if I can go home or whatnot. And what we call it is the paddy wagon. You're sitting there with your hands behind your back with everybody in court. We going to court. And my friend Joseph, he said, and Joseph's known me for a long time. God, I hope I don't tear up. Joseph has known me for a long time. And, he's a funny person. He's a kidder. So you really can't believe everything he says, even though we're in a real messed up situation here. But he's known me for a long time, like I said. So he's known me. He calls me Dewey. He doesn't call me Jamal or MJ Buzzy. He calls me Dewey. That's what my parents call me. And he said, Dewey, oh my goodness, I forgot to tell you, Michael Jackson died yesterday. And I'm like, what? He's like, Michael Jackson died yesterday. And I'm not really believing him. I'm like, bro, like, we're getting ready to go. I'm about to get my butt beat by my mama. Your mom about to beat the hell out of you. What are you, why are you playing? And somebody next to him who doesn't even know me or Joseph said, no, you know what? I think I did see that. I had a newspaper at the front of my cell, and it said, we have lost an icon. That's this paper, right? We have lost an icon. And, they kind of were talking about it a little bit. And as they're talking about it in my mind, I'm kind of like, damn, like, did this really happen? So fast forward, we're finally at the waiting room for the court or whatnot. And I go in to see the judge or whatever. And I'm trying to, I can see that my mom can see that my hands are handcuffed together, but I'm really trying not to let her see that my feet are handcuffed. I don't know, something about that was like too much for me to show my mom, So we're going through court or whatever, and they're like, oh, this is his first time, blah, blah, blah. He can go home, he can go home, he can go home. So they let me go home. And after the judge hit the thing, the boom, I stood up because I wanted my mom to know that I was serious. And if Joseph was playing with me, I was going to beat the mess out of him because my mom's about to kill me for talking about Michael Jackson at court. You know what I'm saying? I look my mom dead in the eyes because I want her to know that I'm serious. And if Joseph is playing with me, we are going to fight as soon as I get back here. And I looked her dead in the eyes. I said, Ma, did Michael Jackson die? And she was looking, she just started crying. And she said, I'm so sorry. And then just my stepdad took her away, and then that was it. And then I had to go back into the holding cell. And I go back there. And so now that my mother has told me this, I know that it's true. And so I'm in the back and I'm kind of just tearing up. And my friend Joseph sees me and he comes over and he's like, man, well, they said I could go home. And I said, they said I could go home too. And he's like, well, what's wrong? And I was like, Michael Jackson did die. And everybody's in there like, oh, this dude, oh. But they don't understand, forget them. Joseph knew what it was. He's like, oh, he knows now, And so, I go back to the jail. They said I'm changing, get my clothes. And I'm just, trying to hurry up and get the heck out of there. They're like, man, you moving fast, ain't you? I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to get up out of here. And so, Mom, I don't know how your parents are, but my mom's the type of person that, when I get in trouble, I get beat. You know what I'm saying? I get whoopings, And I was 17. I hadn't gotten a whooping in a long time, but I'd never been to jail, So it was definitely, I was expecting hell to pay. And no, I saw her, even after she heard, what was the name of the juvenile, and then they do all of that. I get in the car and I'm expected to probably get smacked in the face. And I get in the car and she just starts talking about Michael. And I mean, it's just so crazy how much that impacted everybody, And so I get in the car and she's like, yeah, so what happened is they're saying it's cardiac arrest. And then it's kind of like, I really didn't even hear anything else. Partially, I can't believe my mom's not beating me right now. Second, I still can't believe that Michael Jackson is dead. Put this on pause for a second, because a week ago before this happened, believe it or not, my mother had a dream. I came down the stairs and she said, Dewey, I had a crazy dream last night. And I was, like, what? She said, Michael Jackson died and I went to go visit you. You were in jail, and you were in one of those padded rooms and your arms were tied to each other and you're sitting there with sparkly socks on, rocking back and forth. I guess I had went crazy. And we laughed about it, like, Michael Jackson's never going to die, like, no time soon, all this. And now it has happened, so she's talking to me about this, and we pull up to Walgreens. We're almost at home. We pull up to Walgreens, and she said she gave me like $5, and she said, go in there and get a newspaper. I'm not that old, guys. Newspapers, are always there because ain't nobody buying no newspapers. You can look on the phone or look at. There was only one newspaper left, and it was this one. And I got it, and I'm just sitting there in the car, just cannot believe this. Michael, King of Pop, dies. Music icon at 50, helped save the generation. I just couldn't believe it. You know, we get home and she sits me in front of the TV and just turns it on. And, you know, I don't know, you guys, if you're too young to remember, there's never been, I mean, and with all due respect, the closest thing that I could think of that had that much coverage in my lifetime was 9/11. I mean, it was CNN, Fox, MTV, BET.
Welcome back to the show. It's BET's 106 in Park. According to the LA Times, Michael Jackson has been pronounced dead.
We lost two great American icons today. Hollywood's own starlet, Farrah Fawcett, one of the original Charlie's Angels, and now one of the world's most loved and greatest pop stars that we will probably ever know in our whole entire lifetime.
There are still conflicting reports. It's crazy because now, like, we supposed to have protocols when we doing our job or whatever, like when we're talking about a news story, not to get too emotional, not to get too attached to whatever's going on. But I don't even know how we can even, you know, go through a day like, pretend like like that's not the King of Pop. BT has an upcoming special on Michael Jackson coming up soon, and me and Roxy, we're just talking about him and just looking at his music and his body of work. And dude, from Remember the Time. You remember when Remember the Time came out and everybody had to rush to the living room? Your mom was like, you remember that, Stephanie? Everybody was like, yo, rush to the living room. Michael Jackson's new joint is about to...
How about when Thriller first came out and the video came out, and I was so young when it came out. I was scared of that video because I thought it was like a for real life horror movie. And you would see Michael Jackson's eyes and they were all yellow. He came out with the fangs. And did you have nightmares about Michael Jackson because you really thought that he really turns into a werewolf? I mean, this is so unreal.
It's crazy. And the interesting thing about Michael Jackson that I've never seen with any other artist is that it doesn't matter how old you are. Like, you'll see kids that are 4 years old now that know about his body of work and about his music. This is an artist that you could talk with your parents, your grandparents, you know, all of us can talk about it together. And this is somebody that all of us are feeling. So for the next hour and a half, we go, well, how long, what time we get off work today? 8 o'clock? So for the next hour and some change, we want to talk with you. Hit us up on Twitter. Let us know your thoughts. We're going to talk with some of the members of the livest audience. And we're going to get through this together. This is what we're going to do tonight, all right? We love y'all. We'll be right back. It's 106 apart.
Nickelodeon, for crying out loud. It was everything. There are some people that tell stories of being in the airport and how it says, you know, flight leaves at this time, this flight. They cut all that crap off and it just said Michael Jackson has died at 50. Like, the world shut down. So going on to that night, finally this footage of, I just can't believe it. I've always had somewhat of a Michael type of collection thing in my room. As I was younger, obviously it was a little bit smaller, and then I had like basketball on this side, other rappers on this side, and this college on this side. And I always had kind of, as a kid, been afraid of things like Thriller. I couldn't watch that all the way through till I was 12. The Wiz, I really couldn't even watch that all the way through till I was like 15. The Witch scared the mess out of me. So like little things just scared me. But now for the first time, I can't really sleep because at the front of my bed is all my Michael stuff. And those eyes are just looking at you, and he has died today. Like, I just cannot believe it. I was supposed to go see this man in concert, and then he dies. So, you know, I'm trying to sleep, and I can't sleep. I knock on my mom's door, and she said, you know, it was a tough thing. You know, she tries to talk to me about it. You know, it was a tough thing. Let's try to go back to sleep. Another 30 minutes, I can't, so I knock on the door again. And then now she pulls out the big gun. She's like, all right, put in the Bible drama. And the Bible drama is another witness thing where it's just Bible stories, people reading Bible stories and acting them out. And that tape is about 3 hours long. and I listened to the whole thing, and I could not go to sleep. I knock on the door again, and Ma tells me, she said, Dewey, I think you're going to have to take that stuff down. And I think that was the first real cry I let over that. I couldn't, I just can't, but still to this day can't believe it, as I'm just taking the stuff down, and I had to sit it in the living room. I had to sit in the living room, and it took me like 2 weeks to be able to put that stuff back in my room. And so, that's pretty much it. That was the day that Michael Jackson died, for me. As a moonwalker, though, those were super bittersweet times, especially growing up in my era, because after I've been around and been a Michael fan, Michael had been known for, the charges that he had and stuff like that. Both times, the charges and everything that he had. And all my friends, because I wasn't the most popular kid in school, but I had a lot of friends, so I'll never forget, some people, making fun of me. Oh, you must have been the one of the lost boys at Neverland or whatever, why you like Michael Jackson so much, whatever. Okay, so I remember that. And then the second child molestation charges, they were running to the bus stop talking about, Dewey, did you hear this? I was like, just wait, no, I was the reaction before there was reactions. They just couldn't wait for my reaction. And then when he was found acquitted on all those charges, they, Dewey, how did you feel when he was acquitted? All of that. And so now all the messages from all my friends, I'm so sorry, and it's just a lot, man. It was just a lot. All my friends sending me messages, and my family members, talking to me and stuff. And what was but the sweet thing about all the bitter stuff is Michael was everywhere. Like, you got to experience the 80s almost for the first time. He was so many magazines, everybody, Lifetime, People, everybody had a Michael Jackson magazine from cover to cover. Ringtones were big back then. All my friends rock with you. I mean, Michael was just everywhere for about a year and a half. And it just lets you know how special he was. I don't know if the fact that he sold out all those concerts and couldn't go anywhere, I don't think anybody really realized how much, or he realized how much he was really loved. He will always be missed. Even to this day, we're still doing stupid stuff like trying to compare him with Drake, whatever we can't let him go. I don't think we'll ever see that again. It's in my lifetime. He was just like a magical creature. He was like Mickey Mouse or Santa Claus or something higher than just a regular human. I don't know. He was just Michael Jackson. So, that's it. That's my story, guys. Next video will definitely be a lot more upbeat, but I had to get this one out. Maybe next time we'll go over the new room. But until next time, peace.